going on, Music Heads? It's your man Louie T here with a brand new installment of Music Head University live. So we had the Diddy Cassie video from 2016 surface over the weekend, and Diddy has since issued an apology, and none of that shit matters. The apology doesn't matter at all. His situation is spiraling out of control. We'll talk about that, but I got $1 million question. I think the real question that needs to be answered, I'm going to bring that up tonight, and we're going to discuss that. And I guess this is going to help me make the decision as to what we should be doing here moving forward. But anyway, Music Heads, class is in session. Turn me up. So tonight we're talking about one Sean P. Diddy, aka the Diddler Combs. And his whole situation has just gotten out of control. It really started, and look, we could go way back in the time machine when I've been telling anybody that would listen probably for the last 7 years or so that this is not a good dude, right? And he's insecure. And you guys know how I am. I'm big into psychology. I'm big into the why, right? Why do people do the things that they do? And generally, when someone is insecure about whatever, and you don't know why a person is insecure, you don't know what is triggering that response, but you just know their actions are that of someone that is insecure. And every time you would hear about an altercation with Diddy, it would get physical. And it's with females. Obviously, now we know that for sure. With dudes. And I think the female aspect, usually when guys are willing to put their hands on females, it usually is a sign of weakness as to who they are from a standpoint of their character. And generally speaking, if you'll put your hands on a female, those are the dudes that are usually scared to fight dudes, right? They're usually scared and don't want smoke with guys. Diddy, I think, was privileged in the sense that he always had people around him. He always had security guards. He always had people. So he knew he could do stuff to people and nothing would really happen to him. And if something did pop off, there was enough people around where it wouldn't get to the point where he'd have to defend himself, right? So he would always do things that made me feel like he always seemed like the guy that, wanted to act bad because people were going to hold him back, right? So we've heard about incidents that have popped off at the club, the J. Cole incident. J. Cole even spoke about it, rapped about it on a track. The part where I was like, okay, this dude's got an issue, right, was when he assaulted his son's football coach with a weight. That let me know, okay, you're unhinged and you're just doing things now just to flex, to show people I'm that dude. You don't want to mess with me, yada, yada. But it's unnecessary. Again, it's insecurity to me. Anyway, you're willing to let all that stuff go, though. Like, musically, that's not affected. When you do things like that, you might be an asshole of an individual, but if you make good music, you make good music, right? We separate that, right? We draw a line and we understand that the two things are separate. When it comes to that, it's only when we start getting into a situation where you're either involving females, children, or minors, right? And that's where we got to draw the line. Now, all of a sudden, we got issues. Okay. It's the same thing. It's the same prison code, right? You don't mess with old people. You don't mess with kids. And you don't mess with females. Like you don't, because that everybody in jail's got a mama, probably got a sister, got a grandma. So they're hypersensitive to that. Most of the dudes in there got kids. Hypersensitive to that. Don't mess with old people. I got a grandma, right? So there's certain lines that you don't cross. Well, the Diddler has crossed probably all of those lines at some point. You can't really say about the old, the elderly line or not, but he's crossed some lines here. And while there hasn't been enough evidence to arrest him, clearly, I know you guys saw the apology video. We'll get to that in a second. And where he looks like he is, clearly he's not in the U.S. Okay. I don't know how long he's been gone for and when he intends on coming back, but clearly he's not in the U.S. right now. Okay. That is for certain. Don't know if they've found anything that they've been looking for. Probably haven't. We probably would have heard that by now if they had found something. I'd like to think that he wouldn't be that reckless and that negligent, right? To have stuff just laying around. He's got to have that stuff either protected or he's had to have gotten rid of it by now. Normally, if you're some kind of sexual deviant and you've got tapes and you've got recordings, you're not going to get rid of that stuff. It's somewhere. They just don't know where. But that's nor here nor there. I think this all really started to spiral out of control for him when Cat Williams was on, Club Shay Shay. And from that point forward, it really felt like everything became amplified and magnified, right? Everything started to really come into focus. People who weren't speaking up decided, well, shit, if Cat Williams can do it, I can do it. And people started speaking up. Security guards and people who have dealt with Diddy, people who have been at parties. And then, when all of that stuff came out, then, we got those internet detectives and sleuths on the case, and people started digging up into the crates, his interaction with Justin Bieber and his interaction that was really suspect. The interaction with Fabulous on the Drink Champs, that shit was nasty to watch, right? I felt dirty and felt like I needed a bath watching that shit. How come you don't party no more with me, daddy? And all that shit was like, whoa, bro. This is getting out of hand. The Kevin Hart video, like everybody started digging up and you started looking at stuff from a different light, from a different aspect. And you're like, man, this is some crazy. And then you start hearing about all the young boys that he didn't violated, potentially. We can't prove any of this stuff, but come on now. We've connected the dots here, guy, and so we've looked at some of the things that he's done. A lot of times people like to turn a blind eye to things, especially when it's an artist of the magnitude of a Diddy, right? They did the same thing with R. Kelly. You want to turn a blind eye until you can't anymore. Some people still refuse to acknowledge that R. Kelly is a deviant. And, they're still vouching for him. Bless your heart. And I can't tell you what you should or shouldn't do, right? But we saw the video that surfaced over the weekend. And again, boy, this whole ordeal, these series of events have really aged Diddy by like 30 years, bro. This man went from looking like he was still in his, late 30s, early 40s to he looked like he's about 65. It was funny. We've all seen the meme of Diddy on that one live video where he looks like Danny Glover from from Lethal Weapon. You could easily argue that he looked like Danny Glover from Color Purple. Like, it was bad, man. It was really bad. And he was like, damn, Diddy, it's that bad, huh, man? You going through it, right? Sure enough. Anyway, the video surfaced, and I thought 50 Cent made a great point. He said, the reason that the video surfaced is because the police department knows they can't do anything about it. Statute of limitations have run out. I think it's 6 years. Crime must be, reported, and, something must be done about it within that 6-year window for that particular crime. which is bullshit. I mean, if you've assaulted someone, you've assaulted someone. Why is there a statute of limitations on assaulting someone? If you beat the shit out of me 11 years ago, I mean, it is 11 years ago, but you still beat the shit out of me 11 years ago, and here's the proof, right? I mean, I guess there's, I guess there are different ways of looking at it. I mean, who wants to be arrested? But I mean, again, if you did something wrong 10 years ago and they finally caught up to you, 10 years later, then you have to pay for what you did 10 years ago. I don't understand. Anyway, the video surfaces, and 50 Cent said the reason why the video has surfaced now is because they know they can't do anything to him. Statute of limitations has run out. They can't apprehend him due to this infraction here. And so what you can do, though, is you can put him on trial in the court of public opinion. He's guilty. There's the evidence, right? And that's what they've effectively done. So you put the video out, CNN had it, put it on television for all of us to see. Obviously, that went viral and it was all over social media on Friday. There's no coming back from that. I mean, he was already in a tough spot. He was jammed up already, which is why he's out of the country. He was already jammed up. He's already going through a lot, and he was already in a tough spot. This is I think, the final nail in the coffin now. There's no coming back from this. All the shit that Cassie said he did in that affidavit, you believe it now, even if you didn't. And I believed it when she said it. And it also brings up another point about Diddy. Now, his former ex-wife died of this mysterious illness. Something about her lungs. Nobody really truly knows exactly what happened. But I think it's worth kind of exploring that a little bit further, because rumor has it, no, I can't confirm nor deny this, but she was about to write a tell-all book. And then all of a sudden, she's dead. So I think some people are like, oh, we really need to figure out what's really good with her situation, and was there some foul play potentially involved there? Anyway, I said all of that to say this. You saw the apology. It was a weak-ass apology. Nobody wants to hear that shit. Nobody's buying that bullshit. Okay? You're not sad, or you're not remorseful for the act itself. You're remorseful for getting caught. It's the reason why you paid that money to Cassie immediately to try to make all of this stuff go away, because you knew you were guilty. Innocent men don't pay out large lump sums of cash to make things go away, right? If I'm innocent, I'm not giving you a dime. But if I'm guilty, I might have to rethink that. Sometimes you pay to make things go away, even if you haven't done anything. You think it could, smear your image a bit. But most times, if you're innocent, the way that you prove that you're innocent is you fight. And you refuse to cave and give in, and you don't pay anything, because a lot of people see that as an admission of guilt. Either way, I think the $1 million question here with the diddler at this point now, for me at least, is what the hell do we do with his music catalog now? That's the $1 million question I have for y'all. What do we do with his music catalog? So I'll tell you what I normally do in these types of instances and situations. Especially when you have an artist, you have someone who has touched so much legendary music and content, much like R. Kelly. It's a very similar situation. Diddy's a hell of a producer. People don't really give him the credit that he deserves for his ability to produce, but he's a magnificent producer, and his thumbprints are all over the 90s and the early 2000s. His fingerprints are all over that shit. You can't tell the story of hip hop and R&B without Diddy in the mid 90s all the way until probably the late 2000s. You can't tell the story of hip hop, and R&B without him. Probably could say the same thing about R. Kelly, specifically with R&B. Can't tell the story without those two individuals. However, they're deviants and they have to pay. So with R. Kelly, here's the way that I feel. Me and my wife have taken our stand on Kelly, R. Kelly. We don't listen to anything that is solo R. Kelly, right? So, and it's tough too because there's some really good music in there where you go, come on. But it's hard to listen to "Seems Like You're Ready." You listen to that and you hear it different now. Now in my mind, I see your 15-year-old Aaliyah telling him, "Nah, I'm good," and he's like, "No, it seems like you're ready. It really seems like you're ready. I could have swore you was ready." And she's like, "Nah, I'm not ready. I could have swore you were ready." It's almost like a rebuttal. Like you're listening to him and you're like hearing the female tell him, "No, I'm not ready. I don't think it's the right time." And he's like, "No, you're ready. You're plenty old enough." It's some nasty work. So I choose not to make other artists suffer because of the transgressions of one R. Kelly, right? I don't make others suffer for what Robert Kelly has done. So whether he's wrote the song or written the song or produced the song or his thumbprints and fingerprints are all over the track. For instance, Changing Faces. You hear R. Kelly all over Changing Faces. Cut Close, more of Keith Sweat, but even some of their tracks you can hear R. Kelly's pen in there. But I don't hold that against them, right? Aaliyah's first album, a lot of that is Robert Kelly. I don't hold that against her. Some dope songs with other artists, I don't hold that against them. But if it's just R. Kelly, if it's his song, all right, not rocking with it. This one, it sucks with Diddy because I had plans for him on this channel. I did. And you know what's crazy? I lie to you not. I had a video teed up. And I was like, I need to get this out ASAP before the shit hits the fan with him. Because I knew that it was about to when Cat Williams came out on Club Shay Shay and said what he said, I was like, uh-oh. Shit's about to hit the fan with him in particular. So I had this video that I was going to put out about because again, Diddy has this thing where we invented the remix. Like he didn't invent the remix, but he was probably one of the forefront. He was probably at the forefront of making the remix mainstream and popularizing it. I don't think he invented it, but like one of the commercials used to say back in the day, we don't make a lot of the products you buy. We make a lot of the products you buy better. He just made the remix better. That No Way Out album from 97, look, man, I'm not telling you. I'm just telling you. It's pure fire. I wanted to do something on that. I had this video teed up, though. I Need a Girl Part 1 versus I Need a Girl Part 2. Which one is better? Which track is better? Because I felt like my take on that was going to be unpopular. So I was gonna play both tracks, and I was gonna have you pick between I Need a Girl Part 1 and I Need a Girl Part 2. And see which one y'all thought was better. Before I could even put it out, the allegations ran rampant. Diddy was on the loose. He was trying to get out of the country, and I was like, damn, guess I won't be putting that shit out now. So I think the $1 million question is, what do we do with his catalog? Do we R. Kelly him? Are we at that point yet? Are we boycotting him? Are we still bumping his shit? What are we doing right now with him? Like, I'm not a big cancel culture guy, but in certain instances, it's warranted. After the Cassie video, I think it's warranted with Diddy. Like, we know he's up to no good. We just don't have any proof of all of the underage shit. But we've heard stories. We've heard about the parties. We know he's on some really nasty shit with dudes. We can put two and two together, right? You know, I've heard stories. I don't know what to believe, but I know all of it may not be true. Some of this stuff, if not most of it, is true though. So we've heard enough to know this dude is definitely a deviant. To what extent, we don't have proof right now. So you could turn a blind eye, or you could have been turning a blind eye to that. But beating females' asses is hard. You can't turn a blind eye to that now. We got evidence. I mean, that was some brutal shit that we watched him do. I don't understand why dudes think it's like, sometimes guys, I guess they just black out and think that they're back in the 1950s where you can beat your wife in public and nobody would even blink. Every hotel has cameras. I don't understand why guys think it's okay to knock your wife, fiance, girlfriend out in a hotel lobby or in an elevator. Like, no one's going to see the footage. I don't understand like where their thought process is. Anyway, I'm at the point now where it's gonna pay me more so than Robert, because it was easy for me to put Robert stuff down. Robert Kelly. It was easy for me to put R. Kelly shit down. Very easy for me to put his shit down because he was nasty, and the lyrics made it easy for you to be like, "You nasty son of a bitch." So it was easy to turn Robert off, for me at least. I can't speak for anybody else. I was able to unplug his ass quick. Diddy's a little tougher, but I'll do what must be done. Now, the question I have for y'all is, well, are we at that point now? Are we ready to freeze his entire catalog? Again, I'm not punishing those who have affiliation with him or people he might have, produced for. Like, I'm not gonna stop banging. We can dance, 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 clap your hands, hands, hands all night. If you're in the mood, do what you want. I'm not gonna stop because he in the background. I like that. I'm not gonna stop because Diddy likes that, right? That's not gonna stop me because faith ain't got nothing to do with his foolishness, right? But it's a lot of Diddy music that I was like, damn, I really like that song. Have to put it down. But if I got to put it down, I got to put it down. What says you guys? Leave it in the comment section. Where we at on Diddy? What are we doing? Are we putting his stuff down? Are we freezing his catalog? We putting him on ice? How y'all handling this? I already know what I'm doing. He's on the R. Kelly list for me. Somebody put, let me get the JLG, who says, can't play anybody's music anymore. R. Kelly, Diddy, Michael Jackson. Who's next? Well, first of all, I bang Mike all day long, all day strong. Pause. I'm playing Michael Jackson. Because you're not going to make me believe that Mike did anything. They still haven't shown me any proof. The FBI went after this man. But again, you're entitled to your beliefs and what you want to believe, but show me some proof. They tried to get this man multiple times, not for a lack of trying. They went after Mike. They raided. They couldn't find anything. But anyway, Kevin the PRF writes, how does this situation differ from your OJ video? Am I tripping? Your vibe in that video was you can't deny his legacy. No, it's a lot different. Did we see a video of OJ Simpson murdering his ex-wife? You can draw the conclusion that he probably did it, but we don't know that for sure. He was not found guilty in a court of law. Look, most of us feel like he did the shit, right? Okay. But the bottom line is we didn't have any proof. Like, OJ Simpson was guilty of a lot of things, including not realizing that he was black. You know, all that fame and celebrity and white people embracing him went to his head. And OJ, for a minute, just like Tiger Woods did, and often a lot of these, you know, celebrities and superstars that go into that stratosphere forget for a second that they're actually black until something happens and they get reminded real quick that you black. And then that's when they start looking for the sympathy of the black community. And we're suckers, you know. We always got our arms open, ready to embrace. But no. When I talked about OJ Simpson, I was like, OJ did the shit. I feel like he did it. And I never said, oh, you should embrace OJ Simpson. He still was one of the greatest NFL running backs. I said, bottom line is, OJ Simpson is one of the greatest running backs to ever do it. I'm not watching OJ Simpson highlights at my house. It's different for an athlete than it is for music, right? Because OJ Simpson may hold a special place in someone's heart who watched him play, who might have grown up a Buffalo Bills fan, who might have went to USC back in the 60s, you know, early 70s when OJ Simpson was there. There may be a special place in that person's heart. I didn't grow up watching OJ Simpson. I know about the juice, right? But I'm not watching OJ Simpson's greatest highlights at my house. It's music we're talking about here. Music has a lasting impact on people's lives. Somebody just brought up Michael Jackson. I'm still banging Thriller from '83, bro. We're talking about over 40 years ago. I'm still playing that shit today. Many people are still playing that shit today. That's a lot different than an athlete. I can remove an athlete and all of his accolades like that. That's nothing. If you want to, you can. Look at Barry Bonds, for instance. He cheated. You know what they did? They took all the records from him. Everything he ever did, put an asterisk next to it. He's not getting in the Hall of Fame. He's done. You move on, right? A little bit different, but because he cheated the game, but still, if that's what you want to do with an athlete, you can. Music is a little bit different because music holds a special place in our hearts, and it's timeless. It's something, and that's why I told you I love music, because you can take music and you can take music and you can make it. You can take music and put it in a time capsule. That's always my thing. And bury it, dig it up 20 years later and play it. And it can take you back to 20 years ago when you buried it or whenever you heard that song for the first time. It's a little bit different with music, but yeah, my vibe wasn't, well, OJ Simpson was, that was never, I said the same thing about Jim Brown when he passed away. A lot of people weren't big, massive fans of Jim Brown. Jim Brown was an activist. He did a lot of things for the black community, but Jim Brown was also doing a lot of shit, beating females' asses and all that shit's documented. Jim Brown was not always a nice human being. Take it for what it is. Everybody's different in those situations, right? JLG says, do you still listen to Chris Brown? Yeah, but I'm not a massive Chris Brown fan. I'm not gonna sit here in front and act like I don't listen to him at all. But I also know Chris Brown ain't out here, you know. Well, I can't say that. I don't know what Chris Brown is doing, but I don't think he's out here doing anything with underage females. I don't think he's out here doing craziness. Like there's a lot of transgressions with Diddy. I think this Cassie thing is the final straw, right? There's a lot of things I don't like about Diddy. And I think the Cassie video is further proof of that. Yeah, I listen to Chris Brown, though. I can't sit here and act like I don't listen to Chris Brown. You could say, well, then you're a hypocrite. My response to that would be, now there could be a video out there of him and Rihanna and what happened with them. I've never seen it. I don't know what happened in that situation. I don't know if Rihanna, kicked him in his face first, and then I'm not justifying it, right? I can't tell you what did or didn't happen or what should or shouldn't have happened. I'm one to not put my hands on a female, period, end of discussion. But not everybody has that kind of restraint. And females do be pressing buttons. They do press buttons, but still, you got to be able to show restraint. At the end of the day, I don't know how that situation went. It's a lot easier to draw a line in the sand when you've got visual proof and evidence as to what happened, right? Cassie's minding her business, trying to get on the elevator, and this man comes up from behind, throws her on the ground, slugs her, kicks her in her ribs, drags her by her hair, and tries to get her back into the room. Like, we saw that. Who wasn't appalled when they watched Ray Rice punch his then fiance? Well, it might have been wife then. Might have been fiance. I don't remember what she was to him at that point. Knock her completely unconscious. And then I think he dragged her off the elevator. Who wasn't appalled after seeing that shit? It's a little different when you get to see it. I don't know. So I think I guess it's all about preference. It's all about preference. I don't really, it's not about just being a woman beater. I like to stay out of people's business, personally. What you do in your home is what you do in your home. That ain't none of my damn business. It's when you do the shit out in the street for everybody to see. Now it's a problem, right? I tend to mind my business. When you make it other people's business, when you handle and conduct business outside in the streets, it becomes everybody's business. Now it's public knowledge. So what people do in their homes, in the privacy of their homes, not my business. But my thing is, when there are multiple transgressions, and they're all dirty and nasty and filthy in nature, that's where I draw the line. We saw R. Kelly pissing on an underage girl, and we still didn't quit him. A lot of people did not quit him. I'm included. We didn't quit him at that point. A video of this man urinating on an underage girl, and we didn't quit him then. It took more transgressions for us to go, okay, this guy is ridiculous. It took literally surviving R. Kelly for people to be like, all right, enough of this shit, right? It's not just one thing normally. We've been hearing shit about Diddy for years. Now everybody's got a story. Everybody's talking about stuff. And then this video surfaces and you put all of those pieces of the puzzle. This man has been on trial more times than I can remember. The reason J-Lo left him is because this man was on trial. Like, he's not a good dude. So, yeah, it just depends on what your perception of I can't rock with this person because of XYZ. Everybody's line in the sand essentially is different. I've reached my limit with Diddy now. I reached my limit with him. Darnell Kelly says, I always separate the two. And some people can compartmentalize and separate the two and say, you know, R. Kelly, the artist, or Diddy, the artist, the producer, it has nothing to do with Diddy, the person. Fine. I'm a big proponent of, I'm not going to continue to put money in your pocket. Now, if you're out there, you know, bumping a CD still, right? You still listening to a CD and you're like, I'm not putting no more money in their pocket. I ain't make another purchase. I'm just listening to a CD that I already spent $13.95 on back in 1998. Cool. I'm listening to streaming services. So every time I play your song or every time I play your album, you're getting paid. I'm not doing that. Not putting any more money in your pocket. Like I said, I took a stand against Diddy. I'm not purchasing any more Ciroc. You know, I was a massive Ciroc, you know, drinker when, you know, I'm the family bartender. When we have, you know, functions and gatherings, I'm the guy that's making all the drinks. So one of the things I would always, you know, incorporate was Ciroc. Not anymore. I replace Ciroc with effing now, right? Like I'm taking a stand. So I can't separate the two, is what I'm saying. But some people can. And I don't knock anybody that still listens to R. Kelly. I don't have any issues with that. You do what you want to do. To each its own, right? That's why I love music, right? Some people are like, nah, I can't do it. JLG says, after watching Leaving Neverland, I 100% believe MJ did it. Too descriptive and too many witnesses. I don't, it's too many people that, it's too many agendas out there on mic. It's too many people, it's too many stories, and none of them, I can't corroborate any of them. You know, I just, again, I feel like if all of these people with all of these vivid stories, if this stuff were true, and as many times as they went after Michael Jackson, they would have found something, anything. They wanted him bad. It's not like they needed much. All they needed was one thing. If they could have gotten Michael Jackson on tax evasion, they would have. They just needed something to bust his ass. They couldn't find nothing. I just find that hard to believe, because if the FBI wants your ass, they're going to get you. They're going to find something to get your ass on. Trust me. They're not going to just let you skate. I don't know. He might have did the shit, you know? Again, that's up to interpretation. It's up to interpretation. Kevin the PRF says, women do be pushing buttons. Wife must be asleep. She is asleep, but now women be pushing buttons sometimes though. But just because they pushing buttons doesn't mean you put your hands on them though. But you know, women they know that they can get away with a lot. And so some women, and it takes a certain type of individual to do that. Like your wife, girlfriend, whomever got to be crazy if they pushing those buttons. Like a civilized woman isn't going to try to induce you to fight her, to put your hands on her. They ain't gonna do that. Like my wife would never try to get me to fight her. That's not how she operates. That's not how she moves. Right? There's some women, they'll come, put their hand in your face and mush you, and they'll push you, and they hitting you because they know the minute you put your hands on them, it's a wrap. They want you to. So you also got to know who you're dealing with. Smitty Fresh. I listened to both MJ and Breezy. MJ was framed for money, and it was proven in court. As far as Breezy, yes, he made a mistake, and since then, some people will never forgive him. And that's kind of how I view those two situations. I don't think MJ did anything. Nothing has been ever proven in the court of law. They've tried. Um, and with Breezy, yeah, he made a mistake. He was young, right? When you're young, you're dumb, you make mistakes, you learn from them. I'm not saying he was right. He did make a mistake. And he admitted he made a mistake. Um, it is what it is, you know. Now, if he was a habitual offender and he told us, "Oh, I made a mistake," but then we catch him beating up on another, all right, now we got an issue here, bro. And we haven't had any more issues out of him, right? So again, it's all up into what you decide you want to do, right? That's why Kiss wanted to throw a fridge at him. I don't know. I missed that part. I don't know what that is referring to. Smitty Fresh says Chris Brown is the closest thing to MJ, and me being from the 757, I'm proud to say I'm a super fan of Breezy. He's not a monster, but Diddy always has been. I'm from the 757 too. And Chris Brown, I think he's from 804, but he's from VA. We claim all of it, right? We hold down anybody from 2 up, 2 down. We holding you down, right? And I was a massive early Chris Brown fan, you know. And as his music continued to evolve, I didn't necessarily make the transition with him all the time, but he makes some pretty good music here and there. Some songs that I'll be like, yo, that right there, that shit bang. Turn that up. Play that one again, right? But he's also crossed over, you know. He's a pop artist too. So he does a little bit of everything. And that's not my lane. So, but he's a hell of an entertainer. He's a hell of an artist. And yeah, he made a mistake. He made a mistake. Darnell Kelly says 12 play was my game in high school. 12 play was a lot of people's game in high school. 12 play was everything back in those days. I could never listen to that the same now. Could never. Even if I wanted to. JLG says, how long do you think the feds knew about Diddy? Don't know. Don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. Is how long have they been sitting on some of this information when because they decided to raid when they did. They don't do those on accident. Those are always intentional. You don't want to go and blow up a situation if you don't think you have good intel or you don't think you're going to be able to find what you're looking for, because you don't want to burn that, right? Because if they know you're looking for them, they're going to be extra careful. If you don't get what you're looking for at one time, now they're going to move a little bit differently, and you may not catch them in the act again, right? So they had to be on him for a while, I think. I'm just shocked at the whole Cassie situation. He must have paid somebody some good money, and maybe he just didn't want to keep paying the money. They asked for more money, and he was like, "Nah, bro, I'm already in deep shit already as is. I ain't gonna keep paying you money to keep this stuff a secret. It is what it is." Because that video is from 2016. If they had possession of that anytime in the last, anytime 3 years ago, they could have brought up charges on Diddy. So clearly this video didn't come out until after the statute of limitations had run out, and there was nothing that the police department could do with this video. So clearly Diddy got to somebody first, and this video was under wraps for a while, and then eventually something went awry and the video came out. Like 50 said, at this point, nothing can be done to him. So now you want to put him on trial in the court of public opinion. And clearly that's done already, right? Yeah, Smitty, he's from Tappahannock. I think that's 804 if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Darnell Kelly said Jada on Hot 97 said he would throw a fridge at Diddy when he called the station during the Let Locks Go campaign. Oh, you talking about the when they was at the station when he called up there and they was going back and forth. Yeah, I mean Diddy's not a good dude, man. But if you look at his business dealings and you look at, remember Aubrey from the group? What group was that? Was it Pussycat Dolls? I believe it was. And she was talking about how he did them dirty from a financial standpoint and how he used to treat them. Michael Bivins went to the school of Diddy, right? He was terrible with how he treated his artists. And what's crazy to me is if it was done to you and you knew how you felt when it was done to you, why would you do that to somebody else? But that's how the game was. People was like, nah, they did it to me. Now I'm gonna do it to you. That's just how it is. I liken it to like Isaiah Thomas and the Celtics and how Isaiah tried to blame what they did to Michael Jordan on the Celtics, right? When we beat the Celtics, they walked off the court on us. We didn't get upset, And Jordan was like, bullshit, though. Mikhail came over and shook your hand and all of that stuff. Y'all walked past us, ain't shake nobody's hand. And, they just try to say, well, that was a rites of passage. If you finally beat a team, they walked off before the game was over and don't shake nobody's hand. That's bullshit. And so, it was done to me, so I'm going to do it to you. I just hate that mentality. Somebody break the cycle. Anyway, Danity Kane. There you go. Danity Kane. Pussycat Dolls was old girl with the long ass name that sound like Schwarzenegger. Whatever her name is. Yeah, I got the groups mixed up. Danity Kane is it. Yeah. So yeah, he's not a nice guy. Like we can deduce that Diddy's a different animal, right? Anyway. Like Cat Williams said, Diddy wants to party and you got to tell him no. You got to tell him no. So y'all gotta leave it down in the comment section. What are we doing with Diddy's catalog at this point? What are we doing? We invented the remix. No Way Out. What are we doing with these classic albums? Y'all let me know, man. I need some answers. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T here on this installment of MusicHead University. We're going to start pumping out some more. Content here, getting some more music, nostalgic music in these streets. Yeah, look, Darnell, I'm not telling you to not listen to Big. Who would stop listening to Big on behalf of Diddy, right? Who would stop listening to Big because of what he's done? I told you, I'll never make other artists suffer because of what one person has done or their transgressions, right? Like that's what I said. Like I'm not going to not listen to Faith or Mary J. Mary J's first album, all produced pretty much by Diddy, is fire. I'm not going to stop listening to What's the 411 because Diddy produced the entire album and his fingerprints are all over it. Yeah, right. I'm not going to stop listening to Big because of what Diddy did. If I want to turn on Harlem World right now, Mace's debut album, I'll turn it on. And Diddy has a ton to do with that. If it's Diddy's project, though, if it's his song, that's where you draw the line, right? Anyway, again, that's for me. That doesn't have to be for you, obviously. Y'all tell me what y'all doing with Diddy. Leave it down in the comment section. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of Music Head University. I got a lot of content that is going to be coming down the pipeline. We'll have some more discussions. I got some really good debates that I would like to have with you guys down the road, but we're going to continue to try to build up the subscriber base. We're going to continue to put some more content, flood the streets with this content, get the numbers up, and then I think we can start having some of these discussions that I want to have. But in the meantime, you guys take care. Have a good one. Music Heads, class is always in session. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Peace.